All right, I want to do one more thing that's a little bit complex here, and that is I want to draw something. I'm going to draw a 10-foot cubic room, which has a 10-foot cubic room. I'm trying to find my, oh, there it is, my scale. And I'm going to do it by specific locations of things. So I have some instructions here that I use for this. Let me find those here. Get it out here. Taking me a little time here. It's to draw a room, a 10-foot cubic room, inside of which will be 3 boxes and 2 figures. So what I'm going to make it 10 by 10 by 10, but I'm not going to use the 1-inch scale. I'm going to use a scale of 3/4 of an inch is equal to a foot. Makes this just a little bit complex. Okay, on 19 by 24-inch marker paper and 1-point perspective, draw a room 10 feet by 10 feet by 10 feet, seen from an eye level of 5 1/2 feet, and from a distance of 14 feet. Draw the room 3 inches from the top of the paper and 4 inches from the right side of the paper. All right, use actual inches for the placement of the room on the page. But for drawing the room itself, use a scale of 3/4 of an inch is equal to 1 foot for the size of the room, eye level, distance to the station point, and for the remaining dimensions. Grid the floor and the right wall in 1-foot squares and draw 3 boxes in the room. One box is a 2-foot cube, one box is 3 feet by 4 feet by 6 feet, one box is 1 foot by 2 feet by 7 feet. No box should be within 1 foot of the near wall. The boxes may be turned in any direction aligned with the perspective. Okay, 3 inches down from the top, I'm going to put a line that represents the top of the image area, and then 4 inches from the right side. Now, this whole paper is not being seen on the screen right now, but you can see part of what's happening here well enough for what we're doing. So I'm going to draw now the top line of this box, which will be part of the top of the room of a 10-foot cubic room. Let's see, where's my eraser? That line didn't work too well. Let's fix it here. Draw it again. I'm going to draw on the bottom of the T-square, which is a no-no, but I could see it better. So right here then is the top of the image area. Then on this side over here, 4 inches in from the right side of the paper is the right side of, I keep saying image area. What I mean is actually the room itself. Now, we've got that position by using actual measuring with inches. But now it calls for a 3/4 inch scale. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at this scale here, and I'm turning it until I come to the 3/4 inch portion here. 3/4 of an inch. Now what we do when we use this scale, we ignore all these little marks here and start from 0. And then I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 10 units because it's a 10-foot cubic room. 3/4 of an inch is equal to 1 foot. So I'm going to come down here 10 units at 3/4 of an inch scale. And I know that I'm going to grid the right side, so I'm going to go ahead and mark off every 3/4 of an inch down this side. Now, when I get that, I will then come to the bottom, which is 10 feet down in scale, down here in 3/4 of an inch scale, and I'm going to measure 10 units horizontally here at 3/4 of an inch scale. So from 0 here, and I also know that I'm going to grid the bottom of this into 10 3/4 inch units. So here I go. I'm marking off every 3/4 of an inch up to 10. And what I'll do then is complete the outer lines of the room by drawing from this 10-foot mark here a vertical line up to that top, okay? Now, it calls for, if you'll remember when I read, it calls for an eye level of 5 1/2 feet. So I'm going to go here to the right side and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm going to find 1/2 of a foot. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, measuring very carefully and finding the halfway point between 5 and 6 here, that's the level of the horizon line. Remember, the eye level is the horizon line. So at that point, I'm going to draw on the bottom of the T-square again, which is a no-no, but drawing the horizon line all the way across the paper from edge to edge, okay? There's the horizon line. Then I'm going to arbitrarily pick a vanishing point. Now, the vanishing point is, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to keep it on the left side of the image. The reason why is I'm going to grid this right wall, and I want to be able to see the grid better. If I move the vanishing point over, I can see more of this wall than of this one. So I'm cheating the vanishing point over to the left to do that. What I'll do then is draw lines from all 4 corners to the vanishing point. This gives me the room going back infinitely far to infinity, okay? So we see this room as though it were going off forever, all right? So the horizon line, and once again, is always at the eye level of the viewer. In this case, the viewer must be around 6 feet tall because the eye level is around 5 1/2 feet. So that's approximately what we have there. So now what I want to do is locate the station point, and we said that this was to be drawn from a distance, 14 feet. Okay, so what that means is I'm going to draw the distance line, a vertical line from the vanishing point center of vision straight down. On that line, I'm going to measure 14 feet in 3/4 inch scale. So I'm once again looking for the 3/4 inch scale, which is here, and I'll measure down 14 units at 3/4 of an inch, which I didn't go down far enough here. 3/4 of an inch scale, 14 feet comes down to here. That's the station point. Now what I can do is draw a 45-degree angle up to get the measuring point, or I could just simply measure 14 feet out here. It's the same thing, because the two sides of a 45-degree triangle are equal. Here's the measuring point. Now I connect those two together from the station point to the measuring point, and this will give me, in effect, that 45-degree line that I might use in order to plot the measuring point. So we know down here this is 45 degrees. So now, using that measuring point, I can draw from the bottom right corner toward that measuring point like this, and this will give me the depth right here. Now, unfortunately, I do a double line there, so let's clean that up so it looks a little better. Let's draw this line again from here down to here. Now, I found the depth right here. This line is 14 feet, and that line is 14 feet also. Remember what it is. It's a 45-degree triangle laid down flat. It's foreshortened on this side and full size on this side. So what I'm going to do now is take the T-square and triangle and complete the back of the room by drawing from this 14-foot depth across to this other side. Then using the triangle, I'll make two verticals up to the receding lines on the ceiling up here, giving me the back of the room, 14 feet. I'm sorry, I keep saying 14 feet. I'm sorry, it's 10 feet deep. Excuse me. We have 10 feet here and 10 feet of depth here. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking the T-square up to the top and drawing that line across the top, which gives me the back of the ceiling. It goes back to there. Now it calls for me to grid off one wall, and that is this right wall in 10-foot grids here. So what I'm going to do is just draw from each one of these tick marks that I made, but I'm keeping the lines fairly light, and I'm drawing toward the vanishing point, but I'm not going to draw all the way because that makes too many lines right in the middle. So I just draw enough that I can get this grid on the side here, like this. So now this grid will enable me to measure the boxes at different locations around this room. So here then on the floor, and I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wait a minute, that's not a grid, those are parallel lines. But wait a minute, I can make a grid here. And the way I'll do it is I'll make use of that diagonal line that's going across the floor, and where that touches each one of these lines that look like planks going back to the vanishing point, where it touches each one of those, I'll make a horizontal line, and that will in effect form a grid on the floor. And then what I'm going to do is when I draw that grid, I'm going to start at the very back part, toward the back wall, and do a series of horizontals going through where that diagonal line touches each one of these parallel lines here. So see where the lines are touching is here, here, here. Ignore the distance line. Here, here, and you see, and when we start to draw these lines, this should be getting subtly larger as they come forward. Okay, I'm going to now draw from using the T-square horizontally through each one of these marks to form the grid. Okay, drawing through each one of these. I'm forming a grid on the floor, a grid of 1-foot squares that are drawn initially from 3/4 of an inch front measurements, and they're going back in perspective smaller and smaller, both convergence and foreshortening. All right, now where these lines touch the sides here, at those points I should make verticals. And I prefer to do it this way rather than making a diagonal line on the sides. So what I'll do here is start at the back again and make a series of verticals, being certain that the triangle is firmly against the side of the board and that the T-square is firmly against the side of the board and the triangle firmly against the T-square. I can't talk here all of a sudden. All right, now what I'll start to do then is start to use these grids to measure the boxes that I'm going to put in this room. And what I have is I have this drawing already finished, but I'll carry this through to a certain point and then I'll pop the finished drawing in so you don't have to watch me belabor the figures and all that stuff. So looking at the finished drawing right now, I noticed that I made the 2 by 2 by 2 foot box up here, and I put it 2 feet forward of the back wall. So what I'm doing is I'm marking off on this wall the 2-foot shape. See it right here? 2-foot square. Now I'm going to carry it, staying in the same plane, see? Coming down to the floor, and I'm going to come out here 1, 2, and staying in the same plane, coming down here, coming out 1, 2. So now what I have is the means here of drawing this 2 by 2 foot box. So I'm going to go up to the top up here, and I'm going to draw the front face first by drawing out from those horizontal, drawing out horizontally from those points that I located here, and then vertically up from the ones down below. This will give me the front face of the initial 2-foot box. Okay, there it is right there. See, there's the square representing the front of that box. Now I'm going to draw the back of it the same way by coming to the points where the shape of the box are drawn on the wall here, and I'm going to project out from those points horizontally to begin to draw the back of this box. Now drawing up vertically from the bottom corners, or from the bottom corner here, straight up till I meet those 2 horizontals. Now what I have is these points that I need to connect together, and when I connect them together, I should get lines that go to the vanishing point. So they should look like this, lining up those two corners. Line goes to the vanishing point. Lining up these two corners, line goes to the vanishing point. And of course the ones on the wall will do that too. All right. Make this a little heavier, making like object weight lines. The visible lines should be a little heavier than the hidden lines. So I'm making what I call object weight lines. These are the weight of lines that we can see, the visible lines. The hidden lines would be medium weight. The hidden lines of this box will be like that top back line would be medium weight, and this vertical coming through here. But I would have an object weight line right here on this side. So there's one box drawn like that. The other, I'll draw one bigger box here, and it's supposed to be 3 by 4 by 6. So here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it 2 feet away. Remember, nothing can come within 1 foot of this front wall. So I'm going to go back 2 feet, and I'm going to make a 4-foot high box. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to come out 6 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and back 1, 2, 3, and back 1, 2, 3, 3 feet back, 1, 2, 3. Now this is easy to draw because it's on the floor and on the wall, so it's real easy just to come out with a horizontal here, then come vertical from the floor up from this point here, this near corner, and then I'm going to draw from this. I might as well do the back corner. We're going to get that front corner a little better. Now the back corner is 3 feet back, but it's really a really close angle here, like that. Now I have on this wall over here, where I probably need to make object weight lines, so we'll know that the object is there, and it goes back toward the vanishing point like this. Then it's horizontally, and let's make this front line an object weight line too, like this, and the back one. And then I would just be sure that these two corners line up with the vanishing point and draw the top of this box. Okay, that gives me the outline of this box, which is 6 feet wide, 4 feet high, and 3 feet deep. There should be medium weight lines representing the back. So let's get those in. Let's heavy up the visible lines a little better. I'm using a 2H pencil here. All right, I missed these corners just a bit, but that's okay. I'm the teacher. I can do what I want. All right, so now we have the two boxes. Now, if I were to go ahead and carry this on out, I would put a box on the wall that's 1 by 2 by 7 feet deep, and here you see it. 2. Then I see I come down, staying in the same plane. I come over 1 and come up to here. There's the 1 by 2 shape. Then I count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back there I make the rest of it. So then the figures, we call for a 5 1/2 foot figure and a 6 foot figure. All right, the 5 1/2 foot figure is standing in front of this like a counter. It's kind of like a counter here. So let's draw that. If I'm drawing a 5 1/2 foot figure here, and I ask you where to stop, you should say now. The reason why is because we know that the horizon is 5 1/2 feet. So if I draw up this way, I can draw this 5 1/2 foot figure, just drawing from the ground up till I touch the horizon. Okay, to get the 6 foot figure, which is standing about behind the box about right here, what I do to get the 6 foot figure, I make a vertical line up like that. Now, come from where the feet are, all the way over to the side here, and staying in the same plane, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do not draw to the vanishing point. Make this a horizontal. And this is the height of the 6-foot figure, which is standing behind this counter. So here you have this drawing again, like this. Try to keep it lined up with my original. So what we did, we came from here, it drew up and stopped at the horizon. That's because we know the horizon's 5.5. We know that the horizon passes through every object at the same height. It also passes through this figure at 5.5 feet, but he's 6 feet tall. So we take this point over here, come over to the side, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, come out horizontally, and get the 6-foot figure. So there's that problem there.